Welcome to the organic chemistry section of our practice MCAT questions. In question 3, it says cis-1,2-difluoroethene is also known as what? So for this, we need to know the different nomenclature for organic compounds. So let's just draw this out. The F part of the name tells us that we have 2 carbons, and then the ene part tells us that it's a double bond. So it will look like this. And then on carbon 1 and on carbon 2, we have a fluoro telling me that I have a fluoride. So I put one on each of them, and then therefore it's implied that everything else is filled with hydrogens. So this is what the compound looks like, and a key part of the name is that it's cis. So that nomenclature, cis and trans, tells us the groups that we have on the double bond, which orientation are they relative to each other. So if they're cis, that means that they're on the same side. So you can see that both the fluorides are in that top position, and trans would mean that they're on opposite sides. So that would look like this if one was at the top and the other one was at the bottom. So since they're cis, they look like the compound up here at the top. And so another way of naming this, instead of saying cis or trans, for double bonds, you can say E or Z, and it means the same thing. E represents trans, which means that they would be on opposite sides, and you should know that Z represents them being on the same side or cis. And one way of memorizing that is that Z sounds kind of like on the same side. So just remember that for them being on the same side. And then cis also is on the same side, and trans is on opposite sides. So E would be incorrect, and R and S are also incorrect because that's not even a naming convention that we use for double bonds. That's when we're talking about stereochemistry, and we're talking about orientation in 3D space. So that's when I have, for example, like a tetrahedral molecule, and then I can have orientation around 3D space, whereas double bonds, they're planar, and it's more so not really their orientation like in space moving around. But if I have a plane and then it's something can be facing one way or the other way, which way do they face relative to each other? So R and S are for a different set of compounds. Therefore, we can eliminate C and D.